Just started the WebEx training session. Attendee, one panelist, one attendee is there. Gaurav Mahajan successfully logged in today. Okay, so that means attendees are okay. All attendees are getting into this. I welcome you all. I know this. If you see, there are some links there for material which is you. Okay. So very welcome to the lecture on uh, this software engineering and project management. I'm sharing my PDF file with you. Let's see first syllabus. Syllabus of uh, T1. Just it's taking some time. System is a bit slow. Uh, Science in software engineering, which is a part of your syllabus, while aspect-oriented software engineering isn't the part of your syllabus. It is content beyond syllabus. This is I have to wait for bit. There is some technical glitch. Okay, solved I think. So here we are going to see this thing unified process model or the not the uh, how to stop. Sharing for this file. The Foxit reader is giving me some problem. Okay. I fix that and we'll share once again the PDF. So now we got total 40 attendees. We also have to going to see the different. Am I audible to you? Is okay. So here is this is SCPM. If you see, you are having specialized process models. Those we have seen in last lecture. Then you are on unified process model and then agile process model. So today we are going to see this unified process model in these presentations or in this lecture. And so we'll start with that. Okay. And we are also going to cover the aspect-oriented software engineering with unified process models and personal and team process models and agility principles as a content beyond syllabus for the same. Okay. So it's taking too much time. Okay. So here we are having this today's lecture layout for the thing. First, we are going to see aspect-oriented software engineering in brief, then unified process its history, and after unified process history, we are going to see the phases of the unified process. Then personal team process model, aspect-oriented software engineering process multiple can say misconception about the entire software engineering process because these are the very basic process right now. Agile process development is practiced everywhere, and so we have to see this. Okay, so here we are going to see about these models. Okay, so let's see one by one. So objectives, we already have discussed these objectives. These are the four objectives here that are the basic principal objective is to learn about unified process model, and we are going to see other in brief. So what is aspect oriented software engineering? Now here we require to first concentrate on aspect. So regardless of whatever software process that we are using, whether you are using waterfall model or you are using evolutionary model or you are using iterative model or you are using anything, the software is always have some localized features, functions, and something. Okay, and those localized features are generally called as the components or the aspects of that particular software. So modern computer systems these become more sophisticated, or you can say customer base, or what you can say customer oriented. So what is the requirement of customer? For example, let's say suppose if you created a software engineering process or software engineering system which actually is giving some something like say uh, okay, is actually giving you aspect oriented thing. Modern computer systems say you created a software and you want to give rights to a particular person, let's say for security, fault to tolerance. This may be the concern too, but an admin will have different aspects about this system, and other will have different aspects. So if we go with this aspect oriented software engineering, you can say that aspect oriented software engineering means that you are to concentrate, okay, mostly on the different rules like fault tolerance. Then you have to consider about the business rules, systematic concerns like task synchronization, memory management, and other things. So all those are the aspects of any software engineering system, and we have to be very careful about this. So when we say this, okay, so this we have to concerns cut across multiple system functions, features, informations, and here we say cross-cutting concept. What is this function? Instead of reinventing the wheel, okay, out of 135 students, only 64 faculty. Okay, and see, everything. So what you result? Okay, so otherwise the system will show that you are being unlike. If you have questions, raise the hand. So aspect of they kindly open your window. You don't minimize them. There are an exclamatory mark there before you. Okay, so pay attention to the lecture. Now here you are having this thing that spectral. So let's say suppose you want to create a graphical user interface library, and there is already a good graphical user interface template is available. Then instead of wasting your time on redefining and redeveloping, you can adapt that and you can simply modify. That is what we call as an cross cutting. So we are actually trying to minimize our cost. Okay, then the next aspect oriented software is this often referred to as an aspect oriented programming. So it's new, but it is a very what you can say popular, is becoming more popular in data science and likewise, because when you want to analyze certain data, you require to go through certain aspects of that particular data. And so aspect oriented software development, AOSD, or aspect oriented programming is related with the advanced computer technologies or advanced computer technology things. So it's provided a process and methodological approach for defining, specifying, okay, then designing the, and constructing. So what you can say the different aspects. So each aspect is mechanism which is beyond subroutines and inheritance for localizing expression of cross-cutting concerns. So when we say cross-cutting concerns, we are actually trying to use already tested and use what you can say thing. So those things are there which we require beyond syllabus topic. I'm not going in detail with that. But if you want to know more about the aspect oriented software engineering, you can raise questions in the chat. Then comes the unified process. Now, what is unified process? A rational software which started by James Rambach, Ivory Jacobson, and Grady Booch. In 1999, they come up with a unified process, and they said this rational unified process, which is a evolutionary process, and it uses it actually starts working with things. So it is use case driven. What is use case driven means how user sees the system. So your graphical user interface of the system need to be use case driven, that user is actually trying to check the system. So that is what we can say use case driven. Then it actually concern with architecture of the system. So it is architecture centric. So once the use cases are done, from that use cases you can create the architecture for the, then it is iterative in its basic principle. We have already seen the iterative model of software engineering development and incremental. So it's iterative and incremental means it actually follows the Boehm spiral model. Okay, so it's actually use case driven, architecture centric, iterative and incremental software process. This is the book definition that you can use. So it is an attempt to draw on the best features and characteristics of traditional software process models. So all the models, waterfall models, iterative model, evolutionary model, they are get combined together into the unified process, so that the disadvantage of all these models get deleted and unified process is created for this model. So it is a best principles for the agile software development. So actually this agility or agile software development started with the unified process itself. Rational softwares, which was actually promoted this unified process, was then acquired by IBM, and so it is nowadays IBM works under IBM. So unified process recognizes following stages: importance of customer communication. You know that is software is a product. Product require a market. Market means there are some few people who are ready to buy that product, and those people are going to buy the product if product satisfies their demand. So it is very important while developing any software, because software is a product and there are buyers for it. You have to communicate with the customer in various ways to know the customer requirements, and then only we can create and custom build software. Even for the operating system also, they required what you can say the customer feedback on beta testing. Then you have to go with the streamline methods. What is streamline method? You are not going to communicate customers only once. You are communicating customer once. Communicating customer, you go on planning, design, coding, testing. One part of your software is completed, you are once again going to the customer, showing that to the customer, communicating once again with the customer. Customer will may suggest you some changes or accept that. If changes are suggested, you are making those changes, you will once again go to the customer. So this is called as a streamline. So this is what the unified process recognizes. It says that customer or the end user, what you can say, is the one who is going to actually use your system. So your system always have to be very easy to use. So rational unified process follows the keep it simple and stupid principle of software engineering, generally known as a KISS principle. Okay, so that customers view of the system or use cases are more important than any other part of the system. So you first have to concentrate on the customer use cases. For example, right now you are having different type of bikes. One bike comes from Honda, one from Bajaj, one from Hero, one from Enfield, and likewise. And if they make too much changes in their graphical user interface, what will happen? To learn every bike, you require to waste your time. Yes. So your what you can say, the communication or user interfaces are generally kept same, and the processes may be different behind those user interfaces. So this is a unified process introduction. Now, what is brief history of unified process? It's actually started in early 1990s, okay, by James Ramberg, Grady Booch, and Ivor Jacobson. Okay, they work on this unified method. They actually combine flowchart and ER diagrams and all those what you can say theoretical implementation process of the system, and that combine them to for the best features for object oriented analysis and design methods. Now, when they started doing this, they also adopted these other features proposed by the other experts in object-oriented modeling, and that's come the UML, which is called as Unified Modeling Language. This is a computer program designing language for object-oriented software engineering, or generally called as object-oriented systems. For structured computing or the C or other thing, UML may not fit well. But when it comes to object oriented, web based, network centric architectures, UML is the best unified modeling language. Once you create the entire design of the software in UML, you can simply convert it into any language that of your liking. You make use Java, Kotlin, Python, or whatever language that you which are purely object oriented. You can use UML there for software designing. So this is what the software what you can say unified process brief history. So what are the different okay, so if this UML provided all the technologies, so UML is having use case diagram, then network diagram, you are on class diagram, object diagram, space diagram, timing diagram, deployment diagram, activity diagram, state chart diagram. There are total 9 diagrams, and few new are also introduced. So around 12 diagrams are there to design and develop the software using UML. So today this UML process, also called as Rational Unified Process or RUP, or simply UP or OOP. Okay. You want me to annotate it? I can annotate, but I can't allow anybody to annotate this because there is a problem when students get annotation rights. They generally use crisscrossing, drawing, and something this. Okay. So again, I am going to use the annotation tools because few of you requested, but I myself won't prefer the annotation too much more. Okay, so I will uh, see this. So So this is the unified process. First is called as communication, then go for the planning, modeling, construction and deployment. You know, this is the software engineering generic process model. So what unified process does in communication planning, it's called as an inception. Inception is the seed idea. Okay. Uh, Seed idea that you require to work with in an inception. So once you do this seed idea inception, okay, then you go for planning. So what is inception? Let's say suppose you sat at your house and suddenly thinking you find that it will be okay that if you create a web app which can help people to identify their body mass, weight, and other things and general health condition. Okay, so one idea come into your mind, that is inception. Now you start communicating with the people, and so that's you go with the planning. Okay, then when you go for the planning, then you go for the elaboration. Once you elaboration means that you have to elaborate the entire plan, and likewise, and then you go for the modeling. Once the system get modeled properly, you go for the construction. Once the construction get model, construction means your coding is there, and you deploy. Once you deploy, you once again have to communicate this release thou is shown. This release is something when customer accept your deployment. Once the deployment is accepted, pass all test tests, you can go for the production, or you can release the first or second version of your software. So these are the phases for unified process model. Each phase is explained further in theoretically. I'm not going to read all this slide, but what inception phase encompasses the customer communication, then collaborating with the stakeholders. When we say stakeholders, they may not be the customers, they may be your financer, they may be the legal entities like government, they may be someone who is just your competitor, and likewise. So those are the, you can say, the rough architecture of the system is generally proposed using some flow diagram or likewise, and a plan is made for this. So many fundamental business requirements are also described in this inception phase, which may not be the direct part of your software. For example, end user license agreement. which is a EULA, what we generally know, or the user license agreement, which is a business requirement, and so that you require to things. So many other aspects which are non-functional, or what can say, which are non-convertible into the direct code, are actually discussed and created in this inception phase. Then you are having this elaboration phase. What is in elaboration phase? You actually encompasses this modeling activities. And elaboration, actually what you can say, you are refining your inception. Inception is just an idea, while elaboration is the entire architecture for that idea or entire explanation. So here you come to know that in your idea these things are possible, these things are not possible, or for these things you may require someone else or some other business to what you can say, integrate with your software. For example, if you are in online shopping, you require a logistic or a delivery systems as an integration with your online shopping business. So this elaboration is done using use case model. That is how the end user will operate your system. Then requirements model, what are the exact system requirements of the system. Then the design model, class diagram or the basic architecture of your system. Then the implementation, or what we call as an activity and state chart and space timing diagrams. So and last is the deployment model, or how your system will be deployed, means where the server will reside, where the database will reside, where the client will reside, whether it is necessary to get registered for the event or not. All those things are actually considered in the deployment model. So these five models are there which are used in the elaboration phase. Now this elaboration phase, okay, also create some executable architecture baseline. I'm saying the baseline means framework. In software engineering it is called as a baseline, or in Java these are called as abstract classes. Executable architectural baseline means in Java we call this as abstract classes. The classes are defined, functions are named, but no functionality is yet introduced in it. So this baseline is created to demonstrate how exactly the things will work after implementation. So it actually covers scope, risks, and other things in the elaboration phase. So modification to the plan are often required, and for that modification purpose, it is very necessary to consider all those things. Okay, you have to plan is carefully reviewed, because if there is anything, then you can make the room for modification. Once the modification is done for this plan, we can go for the next, that is a construction phase, means actual coding. So in construction phase there are two type of construction. One is called as theoretical construction, that you first creates the pseudocode or algorithm, because creating pseudocode or algorithm actually help you in create, what you can say, creating your so code very easily. So you are using the architecture model for this, and you create some construction, or you can see your programs. So main program, sub program, functions, and all those things are get added into this construction phase. And software increments or versions are what we can call as the release, are then implemented as the source code. Now, this construction phase also how these things as a components are implemented, because maximum time when we are using the object oriented software engineering, OOSE, we are generally consider using component based architecture design. Okay, so rapid prototyping and evolutionary models are generally used, and each component is unit tested for these things. So then once all these components are designed, you require to do the integration activities for the components, and how to do the integration testings, those are conducted. And then use cases are there, so you have to check whether this integration actually satisfies the use cases or not. So once these things are done, you require to go for the transition phase. So when we go for the transition phase, here you think encompasses the latter stages, and like, so uh, this transition phase is what can say the generic construction. Here you are actually created the entire software, and now this software required to deploy Okay, and have to take the active delivery and feedback. So this feedback is generally called as the beta testing, and then software is given to the end user for this thing so that they can give you the feedback, and thus feedback is used to enhance the software. Okay, the feedbacks are generally not considered as a negative things, but they are used to enhance the software and something. So software teams, they require to create necessary support information. Those are the user manuals, troubleshooting guides, installation procedure. This creation is called as software configuration management. So you have to create a lot of documentation in a transition page for the end user, so that end user can easily use the software, and if some error occurs while using that software, the end user can manage those errors at its own end. So at the conclusion of this transition phase, software increments becomes usable software, what we call as a stable version of the software, and then the stable version get released. So this is what you can say the entire unified process. And the production phase means once the stable version get released, you are actually once it coincides with this activity deployment diagram, and you creates this diagram. Now you are launching your software either using cloud or using CD or DVD environment for the software. You can say the sale, because software is a product. That is what you can say the production phase. So these all phases, construction, transition, production, these are actually conducted at the same time. They are not conducted step by step. Instead, they are conducted in a what we call as an incremental or way using so now we are going to see the personal software process. This so first the planning is there in PSP. You have to plan your software development, because when you go on creating any software module, you require to for individual team member, you have to have your own plan. So you have to isolate the requirements, you have to develop both size and resource estimates. It's to find out the defect estimate. What are the defect estimate means? If you go on creating the software, first it seems to be very feasible, but then it's not seems to be that feasible. So you require to go for the defect estimate. You have to consider all metrics or benchmarks, and likewise, and how to identify things. Then you have to go for the high level design. High level design is a block diagram. That is, you are having to you are going to have certain some block diagrams. Say suppose when we say high level design, okay, you may have one block diagram. Okay, this is your software main part, and for the same this main part, you may have some sub parts. So you are saying this is sub parts. Okay, so here you are having these sub parts. Okay, these sub parts actually get combined. So you are having these uh, here you are having this part connected. This is also connected, and this is also connected with the this thing. So this is your software system. Let's say this is a student information system. Then for student information system, you are in the entry student database, and you are in the student can say logic system for creating this thing. So if we consider this, these are what you can say your uh, so high level design. So high level design means simply you are having a complete design for the thing, and that's what we are using. Once this high level design is done, you are required to go for the formal verification of this high level design to your customer. Customer says okay, or may change the decide. Now when it's the personal software process, this high level design review is actually not done by the customer but your team leader, and then you start the component level design, and likewise. So this is what you can say the postmortem. Postmortem means once you created all those things, you once again require to reanalyze it for is there any error or something is left, and that is what it is. So this is the your PSP, personal software process. So everyone who is in a software development required to have his own personal. Now when we go for the software designing and testing or the software development, we also have the team. So this team required to have some objectives. So TSP is there. So TSP objective is build a self-directed teams. So leader won't require to direct everywhere. For example, I told few people that don't minimize your windows. Why? Okay. For example, Abhishek Mishra, Ajay Bachate, they have minimized their windows. My system is saying that Abhishek Mishra is not paying attention. Ajay Bachate is not paying attention. Aishwarya Shinde is not paying attention to the lecture. Okay, so when says attention, not paying attention means either you have minimize the window or you open the other window. So it's what we call as a self-directed, means you won't require to told every time the same thing to your team members. Right now we are working as a team. Okay, and when this is when it become necessary for person to you can say uh, tell every team member, then it become quite difficult. Right now, Akshata Chaudhary, Ajay Bajte, then Dheeraj Kolle, Jonesh Patel, Kunal Pawar, Mayur Patil, Mayur Shinde, Mayur Zambre, Monica Shelar, Chinde, all those. There are many other also. They are actually not paying any attention to the lectures, means they simply started their windows and minimize it, and they are doing some other tasks. Okay, that's not going to actually cause any you can say damage to me, but so you may what you can say miss the part of the lecture, and then you can't understand the basic principle for the system. So be attentive. So TSP objective is here that you have to build self-directed teams. Then you have to show managers how to coach and motivate their teams. Then you have to accelerate the software process improvement by using capacity CMM level 5 behavioral and normal expected model. Okay, so this actually provides improvement, guidance, and high maturity in an organization. And TSP also facilitate the university teaching of industrial grade team skills. So if you consider for a software engineering process, these PSP and TSPs are very important. Now we are going to see the agility principle, the last part of today's lecture. Uh, it's already 12:11, and I think we are going to take a few more minutes. So by 12:30 or maybe by 12:40, 5 or 10 minutes plus minus, we are going to cover this. So first, agility is what? You have to be agile in terms of response to change. So agility is effective response to change. This is what first thing. What is agility means? Say suppose some customer asks you first the text your graphical user interface in blue color, and next time you go and you say that is it must have to be in red color, and then you go you can say, and then you say no, I want maroon color. So what is agility? You will add a aspect in the graphical user interface, and that is called as customization of user interface. So user can have his colors of his liking for the graphical user interface of that particular software. So that is what we call as an effective response. For example, when you open the email account, Gmail or something, you can customize that email account as per your liking, and that is called as effective response. That is agility. What is agility? Means rapid delivery of operational software. That is also agility. So when you, if you are using the rapid prototype modeling or rapid application development, you can call you are following the agile principle of or agility of the software development. Then it also adapt the customer as a part of development team. So it won't say because customer is not technically graduated, he don't know the software engineering basics or the computer languages, he don't know anything. Only customers know what is or what are the requirements. Okay, so you require to make the customer as integral part of your software development, and so you have to eliminate this us and them part. For example, right now I am teaching you the software engineering, but at the same time I am learning the software engineering, because every time I want to teach you, I require to learn. For 1 hour of presentation I have to go through at least 8 hours of study. Okay, because giving a wrong information is what you can say the offense what I am considering myself. Okay, so this is what we call as an agile process. Now agile process also recognizes planning. Okay, and in planning it says that there is uncertainty, so it's actually acknowledge the uncertainty and its limits, and so it says the schedule should have to be flexible. Okay, schedule should have to be flexible, and that is what you can say the agility principles. So there are total 13 something say. So agile software process is characterized by following assumption. First assumption is it is difficult to predict in advance. There is no possibility that is say suppose you created one software, I can't say that your software going to become a very what can say popular or not. Don't know. But for example, if you go with the smartphones, tablets and other things, Microsoft first launched it but it failed, but when it's Apple launched it, it becomes successful. So it is very difficult to predict in advance at which requirements will persist, which will charge, how customer priorities will change, and likewise. Then agility principles also says that for many types of software, design constructions are interlude. Means you have to be very adaptable or what can say flexible, because many softwares have around 70% design common. So instead of wasting your time in you can say communicating more on those architecture, you can use rapid application development. Means just by observing the already existing system or working system, you can create your own architecture. And the only thing you have to keep in mind doing that, you have to be very aware of IPR, intellectual property rights. Then analyze, design, construction and testing are not as predictable from a planning point of view as we might like. Means we go on analyzing and we say okay, it's okay, we say design is okay, construction is okay, testing is okay, but there may be some errors occur. Right now my system is not allowing me to what can say project my video. I don't know why. Webcam sometime works, sometime won't work, something like that. So maybe two three systems are using the acquiring that webcam, and that's why a resource conflict is occurring. So this may things that from planning point of view, these things may be unpredictable, but still you have to plan them. Then agile alliance or agility principles or agile software development have these 12 agility principle. I'm not going to read those principles, simply showing this principle. This is a content beyond syllabus, but maybe asked in your examination for giving that just give the 12 agile alliance principle for the agility. The first is highest priority is to satisfy the customer, because software is a product, and if customer is not satisfied by that software, no one is going to you can say buy your product. So first agility principle is that your software must have to satisfy the software. Okay, then welcome changing requirements. Any requirement if get changed, okay, or if there is any change in the process, you require to accept it. For example, right now due to the COVID-19, we are having these classes online, but it may happen that by the October 2020 the COVID-19 symptoms will be gone, and from November or December we are going to conduct that regular lectures, something like that. It may happen, I am not I am just guessing this based on the what you can say the progress going in the medical thing. These many things may happen, and if those happen, we may go on the regular, so change may happen, so you have to accept the change. Or it may happen that government will say that now onwards you have to go on only online lectures and like this. Then we have to accept that change also, and we have to adapt to this changing environment. So that what we is say the agile principle says welcome changing requirements. Any change happening in our life or in software development, we require to accept it. Even the computation also, we require to accept that. The third agile principle is that deliver working software frequently. Don't bother whether your software is complete or not. If it is working and satisfying customer needs, more than 50% customer needs are satisfied by your software, release it. so that customer can work with it, customer can suggest you, and so do this frequently. That's why we generally find out that we get a software, and after a month, after a fortnight, maybe after 2 or 3 months, they always come up with some updation. Yes, updation patches, and likewise. So if you go with this, so you have to deliver the working software. The business peoples and developers must work together. Okay, because software is a product, it required to be get sale, it required to be get sold on the market. Business people, the marketers, the other peoples like retailers and other things, and the developers, they have to work together for this software project development. So agility principles, next principle is that build projects around motivated individuals. You know that the people who are self motivated, who are who want to set something, let they are it's easy to work with them. Okay, but if the peoples are not motivated, it's very very difficult to work with them. So when you are building the project, always try to get the enthusiastic and motivated, self motivated or self started people in your team. Next, that is most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within development team is face to face conversation. Yes, right now many of us are working on online, and but the online communication is not that effective than like your communication which is face to face. So whenever it is applicable, go for the face to face communication, either using video conferencing or using actual what you can say physical conversation. Then the next principle says that working software is the primary measure of progress. Your software need not be 100% error free, but it should have to be working. It must have to satisfy at least 50% needs of your customer. Okay, then you can say your software is working. Release it, customer will show that these 50% of such errors. You can give the updates, and then it's become 51% working, 52% working, 60% working, 80% working, and likewise. For example, in today's lecture, earlier there were only few attendees, now there are total 90 attendees. I'm really happy for this. Now this attendees count may go up. We are having total 135. 90 means we are still having 45 are not there registered. So working software is the primary measure. Working software is primary measure for this. Then agile process promotes sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Step by step, and you are not actually deleting the final last development. It is always backward compatible. So the sponsors, developers, users, they must have to maintain constant pace indefinitely. Means you must have to be in communication with everybody. Then agile process is having the continuous attention to technical excellence. Okay, and good designs. So technical excellence is always there. You are checking simplicity, or keep it simple and stupid is the best principle in agile. So simplicity must have to be there. Then best architectures, requirements, and designs, these how to be emerged, and these are emerged from PSP and TSP. When you are having the personal software plan, and you are having the team software or team process plan, you can go with that TSP and PSP, the best architectures and requirements. Then at regular intervals you have to reflects the conflicts, and likewise. So when we say team reflects on how to become more effective, there may be some conflicts. We are the people, yes, me and you, all are the human, and so we may have some what you can say conflicts, but we must have to work together, and that is what we call as a thing. So you have to retune yourself, and you have to adjust a behavior accordingly in a team. Okay, so these are the 12 agile principles. So today's lecture is completed. If you have any questions and queries, kindly ask them, or you can type them in your chat box. And so I'm stopping this sharing, and can ask the questions. You can select the Q&A box in your thing questions, and you can ask the questions. Okay, no questions. Probability is important. Yes, probability is really important. How can we download the PDF? You simply have to click on it and you can download Agile Principle. So probability is important, yes. How can we download PDF in Agile Principle? Probability is what is uncertainty. That's why they say in Agile Principle this is that you don't know what happened. For example, let's say suppose I started today some software development and I plan for the 1 month, and in between right now we are on COVID, something happened to me. Okay, I may say I can leave the company, or I may say fail ill, and likewise, then I require to replan those things, and that's why I say it is difficult to uh, predict. So now to download the PDF, you simply have to click on them. It will open the download, and then you can download the this PDF. Okay, so I don't think that no, that's the problem. So obviously, when you download using your smartphone, it goes to your files and folders. Okay, you don't require to decide where to download. Your Android system automatically download it to the smartphone file and folders things. There you can search them by name. Okay, download option is not visible, uh, but I made it visible. Uh, Information session might change audios. It is visible enabled from my side. It's maybe problem at your side due to the small screen or something. Download option. It is there. It is enabled from my side. Download is enabled. You have to if you maybe it's a WebEx problem. You have to use your laptop or something. If you are using Android phones, may not be downloadable. I don't know. But from my side, I made it enable. You can download all the presentations of this and the coming lecture also for unit number 1. After this complete lectures, we are going to have an online small exam on this. Okay. Okay, I will share it on WhatsApp group. Okay, on both section A and section B, all the PPTs or okay. So thank you very much for attending the lecture. Shall I end this? May I? with your permissions. Yes, okay, thank you. So I'm ending the session. Okay, thank you.